What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for another Game of Thrones Season 7 breakdown video. There are a few more scenes from the Season 7 trailer that I want to discuss. When I made my breakdown video for the trailer, I received a lot of comments asking me about the scenes that were taking place beyond the wall with Jon Snow and Tormund. If you're one of my longtime subscribers, then you most likely know exactly what has taken place in those scenes, but if you're new to this channel and you haven't seen all the spoilers and leaked photos, then you're probably not aware. This video will contain spoilers, and I will also be referencing the plot leak, so proceed with caution. In the Season 7 trailer, we see 12 people that appear to be surrounded by someone or something. They are all standing in a circle, and they are all in a defensive stance, most likely preparing to fight. I have a pretty good idea who most of these people are, but there are a few of them that I am completely unsure about, so I'm going to need everyone's help so we can try and decide who else is with Jon Snow and Tormund on this mission. A few months back, reports started to come out about the Game of Thrones production team showing up in Iceland, preparing to film scenes that are going to be taking place beyond the wall. Whenever Game of Thrones films in Iceland, it was always for scenes shot beyond the wall, and this is not going to be any different. Photos also started to circulate online as actors began to show up in Iceland to film these scenes. But we still had no idea how many people were actually going to be involved with this scene. We did get a great photo from the set as a group of characters were filming one of these scenes, and when you zoom in on this photo, you can see that there are at the very least 9 characters, all dressed in wildling type clothes, which is exactly what Jon, Tormund, and the other men in the circle were wearing. But as you can see in the trailer, there are at least 12 characters beyond the wall. There could even be more than 12 people. This scene in the trailer of them standing in a circle could be after some of the characters have already died. But based off the evidence we have thus far, I'm going to say there are 12 characters for now. More people could show up before this fight is over, you never know. But what I did find interesting is that the plot leak came out all the way back in October, and the plot leak said this would happen. I'm going to read this specific episode from the leak. Then we're going to get into the evidence that I have that's came out so far. At some point next season, Jon and Davos are going to go down to Dragonstone to meet with Daenerys and Tyrion. During this meeting, Jon and Davos are going to tell Daenerys about the threat beyond the wall. Apparently, Daenerys isn't going to believe Jon at first, so Jon eventually decides that in order for everyone in the south to believe him, he is going to need to get proof. So he decides he's going to go north of the wall and capture a white to bring it back down south to show everyone in order for him to get the help that he needs. The leak says that during episode 6, Jon is going to arrive at Eastwatch by the Sea. Apparently, Tormund had a Brotherhood Without Banners member locked into jail there. The Brotherhood Without Banners were on a mission from the Lord of Light to fight the White Walkers. Jon then leads a small force, which includes Beric Dondarrion, Thoros of Myr, Tormund Giantsbane, Jorah Mormont, and Gendry. While they are on this mission, the team is attacked by the Night King's army, including a zombie polar bear which ends up killing Thoros of Myr. They get surrounded on a frozen lake, nearly about to be killed, but Daenerys shows up with her dragons. She then flies most of them to safety, but she leaves Jon behind, who is most likely still surrounded on the frozen lake. Apparently the Night King is then able to kill her dragon Viserion and resurrect it as his own zombie dragon mount. Jon is almost killed by the encroaching horde of whites, but then Benjen swoops in to save him. Benjen sends the wounded Jon off on his horse before Benjen is swarmed and presumably killed. Now all that sounds very intense, and it might sound too unrealistic even for Game of Thrones fans. I have a lot of new subscribers since I last talked about this, so I'll quickly show all of you how much this leak has right thus far, based off all the footage, photos, and reports that I have. Photos were leaked months ago that showed Jon and Davos on the beach of Dragonstone with Daenerys. Now I have no idea what they talked about, but whatever it was causes Jon to leave the island with more people than he showed up with. Jon and Davos set sail from Dragonstone with Jorah and Gendry, which is 2 of the people he will be taking with him beyond the wall. We also saw in the trailer that someone has a warhammer, and most of us have seen the photo of Gendry on the beach with Davos and Tyrion, and he does have a warhammer with him. Plus I've made other videos talking about Gendry going on this mission, so I would definitely say that's Gendry with the warhammer in that circle of men in the Season 7 trailer. Photos also started to come out of a set that Game of Thrones was using to film this white capture hunt. As you can see, there is a man-made frozen lake here, which the leak said Jon and his team will be surrounded on. And that's exactly what it looked like was happening in the trailer. I think this is them getting surrounded on that frozen lake. And a report also came out that said they hired over 300 extras to use as whites, then the rest would be digitally added. So we will probably see Jon and all these other men get attacked by thousands of whites, which is going to be absolutely insane. And we even got a photo of Jon on this set filming on this frozen lake. It's kind of hard to make out his face, but the person on set who took this photo said it was Jon Snow. Jon and Davos then filmed scenes on the beach in Iceland. When they go beyond the wall, they are not going to be going through the wall at Castle Black. Them filming on this new beach in Iceland makes sense since they are supposed to go to Eastwatch by the Sea. In the Season 7 trailer, you can see a gate opening up at the wall, and at the bottom of the gate it has spikes. But when you see the gate at Castle Black open up and you look at the bottom, there aren't any spikes. So the gate that we see in the Season 7 trailer is definitely not Castle Black. I do believe this is Eastwatch by the Sea that we are seeing in the trailer. But what's interesting is when Jon and Davos arrive in Iceland, that's when a lot of the other main players start to show up in Iceland to meet Jon to film these scenes. Jon and Davos are some of the first people to arrive, and they start to take pictures with fans while they are there. Davos and Gendry also show up near the set, and they both take a picture with the same fan. So they might have even been filming scenes together, because it did appear that Davos and Gendry were hanging out with each other all day. Then we got a photo of Gendry and Thoros of Myr, who also took a picture with a fan. And this was all in Iceland, and we know that whenever they go to Iceland, it's going to be stuff taking place north of the wall. But this is when it gets really interesting, because these next characters that were seen on set have never filmed scenes together. Jorah Mormont, Tormund, and the Hound all take a picture together with a fan while they are at dinner. Jorah and Tormund also take a picture with Benjen while they are there to film. So we can now start to piece together who are all going to be filming with Jon in Iceland while they do these scenes north of the wall. When we see those 12 men in the trailer, I definitely believe some of those men are Jon, Tormund, Gendry, Jorah, the Hound, Thoros, and Beric. That is over half of the group that's going to be in this scene of the 12 men from the trailer. Plus we have Benjen and maybe Davos. I'm not so sure if Davos is going to go with them beyond the wall. For some reason I feel like he could stay behind and wait at Eastwatch while they do this White Capture mission. But then again, Davos was in Iceland with them, so he could go with them. But who do you think these other characters in the trailer could be? There are potentially 4 characters with Jon in this scene that we haven't been able to name yet. This is where I'm going to need your feedback, so comment below and tell me who you think these other 4 characters could be. Who would be brave enough to go with Jon and the rest of them to capture a white? Personally, I think most of these remaining characters are going to be members of the Night's Watch from Eastwatch by the Sea. But the unnamed characters could also be other members of the Brotherhood Without Banners. We got a photo of the Hound traveling most likely north, and you can see he is with other members of the Brotherhood that aren't Thoros and Beric. I think this photo of the Hound is him traveling to the wall with the Brotherhood. He was told that the cold winds are rising, and that there is a bigger purpose to serve. I think some of these members might go with him, Thoros, and Beric beyond the wall. I think some of these 12 characters beyond the wall are going to be sacrificed just to raise the stakes in a scene. Most of them will probably be unknown characters that die in that scene, but I did make a prediction video about who I think would die and then be risen as a white, which you can watch after this video. I'll put the link down in the description. But there will most likely be some red herrings in this group of 12, so they will probably travel with a few unknown Night's Watch men or a few unknown men from the Brotherhood. But there is still a chance that all 12 of these characters are main players. Let me know if you think there are any other big characters in this group besides the ones that were seen on set. Do you think Davos went beyond the wall? He did travel to Iceland to film, and he is very loyal to Jon. He could have went with him to back him up. Or do you think someone like Brienne went? She would be a great addition to this group. Plus she has a Valyrian steel sword, which is exactly what they're going to need beyond the wall. Or do you think someone even like Theon might be there? Theon was on the beach at Dragonstone with Jon. Now, we didn't see him get on the boat with Jon, but he could have taken his own boat. Theon could potentially want to prove to Jon that he is loyal and sorry for what he done, so he could volunteer. But I think the remaining 3 or 4 men are most likely going to be some unknown characters that are going to be killed. We did get this photo during filming, and we only see 9 or so characters here, so this could have been taken after some of them already died. But it's very interesting that there are 12 characters here in the trailer. This is very similar to the story of The Last Hero, which we did talk about in the Future of Jon Snow collab video. We did have a strong feeling that something like this was going to happen. But what else is interesting is this isn't the first time we've seen a group of 12 companions north of the wall. If you remember back in Season 4 when the Night King turned the baby into a White Walker, we can see that the Night King had 12 companions of his own. So that could end up being a big clue as to something about the future, but I'm going to save that for another video. Also, please let me know if you think Jon's going to be successful in this mission. Do you actually think he's going to be able to capture a white and get it back down south? And do you think Daenerys is actually going to show up just in time to save the day? But the big question is, do you think the Night King is going to be able to kill one of her dragons and raise it from the dead for himself to ride? Let me know your thoughts about this. I'm very curious to see if this actually happens. I really want to know how Daenerys would react if one of her dragons would die, and then she would eventually have to fight one of her own dragons. We know she looks at those dragons like they are her kids. So what is that going to do to her psychologically if she loses one to the Night King? Could she potentially go down a darker path like Cersei when she started to lose her kids? I'm really looking forward to seeing how that's going to play out, if this is true. But before I go, I have to give a big shout out to my friend White's King over on Twitter. If you do not follow him on Twitter yet, you definitely should. He is an amazing artist, and he makes all these great digital images that I'm sure most of you have seen circulating online. He has created many Game of Thrones related digital photos, and he was nice enough to let me use this picture of Jon Snow for my thumbnail. I really appreciate that, and I'm going to put his link to Twitter down in my description. That way you can go follow him and check out all of his other artwork. But I want to thank all of you for stopping by, and I want to give a big shout out to Dennis Chadwick. He donated $20 to my Patreon last night. I was pretty shocked when I got the email. No one has ever donated $20 before. I cannot thank you enough, Dennis. That was very kind of you. But I also must thank all the Patreon supporters, because no matter what amount you use to support the channel with, I appreciate it tremendously. Thanks again, and I'll see you all down in the comments. Bye.